Hey, how you doing, guys? This is Jerry again with another video on how to do it yourself. Before I start this video, and I feel that I need to like kind of give you some information regarding myself because I have been out of my channel for almost a year. And it's not that I neglected my channel. The issue was the fact that I found a full-time job and I decided to venture in that full-time job and basically bring some of my skills, my personal skill to that particular employer, but at the end it didn't work. But it doesn't matter because I am a believer that for when you find people who think that they might push you down and break you down, uh, you need to do whatever it takes to remember who you are as a person, and no matter if those person break bonds on you, no matter if those individuals basically try to break your spirit, sometimes you have to remember that something very important is the fact that broken mirrors are unable to reflect the energy that is within inside of you. And it's because they don't have the ability to reflect what you are as a person. So you have to remain positive and believe in yourself and don't expect ever, never, to receive a positive or a word of encouragement for type of individuals like that, because there are people in this life who are like black holes. They feed from destroying other resources, from destroying other planets, and there are people just like that. So with that said, the most important part is that you remain positive, believe in yourself, always believe in yourself. Keep in mind that it's something that you think you can do it, then go ahead and do it yourself. But you need to be committed to reading. You need to be committed to make a plan, draft plan, and make sure that when you start that particular project, you finish it. Now, the video that I'm about to post shortly about how to change blown gasket in a Jeep Patriot 2014. I need to be honest to you, I filmed this video about a year ago before I started in that full-time job that I just left. Um, and now I can dedicate more time to my YouTube channel. I was debating between the fact of releasing the video or keeping the video just for myself, but I started receiving a bunch of emails, and some of my viewers started just basically emailing me and asking me, "Come on, release that video. We want to see it, how it goes." But I need to be honest to you, it's not an easy task. As I said before, if you don't have the ability to do it, just don't do it. Take it to a mechanic by any means. I'm not responsible for any damage that you do to your vehicle if you intend to do it yourself. I am not a certified mechanic also, but what I did was I was committed to read the book. And when I said the book, I mean in the repair manual book for the Jeep Patriot, and someone sent it to me from Canada, and I started reading the book. And when I said reading the book, I mean reading the book. I read the book once first, then I read a second time, third time, fourth time, fifth time, even before I started working in the engine and removing all the components that you have to remove to get to that blown gasket. Some of the tools that you will need, you will definitely need, and this is very important, and make sure that you have a marker. Make sure, when I say a marker, I mean a magic marker. You will need it. Also, make sure that you have whiteout with you, because you can use whiteout to make the timing point, because you're going to remove parts that I'm going to be honest to you. If you don't read and if you don't follow the instructions in that book, you will end damaging your engine, and I am not responsible for that if you decide to do it. I would suggest that if you plan to do something like that, one of the skills that you need to have beside having a magic marker, beside having whiteout, trust me when I tell you those two items, is patience. You need to be patient. You need to be committed to that project. You need to read, you need to read, you need to read, you need to understand what you're reading, and you need to execute. More importantly, you need to be patient. You need to be patient. It's a job that for just a person like me who is not a mechanic, and I was able to finish it. I was able to do it, and when I finished that, so far up into today, and this is about a year ago, I've been driving my Jeep without any problems. What is interesting is the fact that I took my Jeep to the dealership because I received a recall. Then when I went to the recall, I see how they were trying to get more money from other customer, telling them you need to do this, something else, you need to do this, you need to do that. And finally, when they called me for my Jeep, after they reviewed my Jeep, they told me, well, we don't have to do anything to your Jeep, and basically the part has been replaced. The part that was called had been recalled for the recall has been replaced, but something the service manager take a look at your Jeep, and he said that your engine is brand new, and it's one of the brand new models that came out of the market, and it's in top shape, which impressed me because they didn't even know that I have basically replaced a blown gasket in that Jeep and put everything together. So with that said, I'm going to just release a video. Let me tell you something. I'm going to be honest to you. The reason why I did the video the way that I did it, and it's not a step-by-step video, is because of the fact that if I post a video just showing you step-by-step of what you have to do and you don't read the book, you will fail. You are not going to be able to be successful because you're going to do things by looking at the video. And the reason why I did the video the way that I did it is because you guys need to read. If someone out there tried to replace a blown gasket in a Jeep Patriot 2014 without being a mechanic and you try to do it yourself, you need to read the book. You need to read the book. You need to read the book. I cannot address that more than what I have addressed it already in this video. Something else that I always recommend, if you feel that you don't understand the book, if you feel that you're unable to follow the instructions, if you feel that you cannot write a draft of the step-by-step that you have to follow, if you believe that you are not committed to that part, to this particular project, I would suggest by any means take it to a certified mechanic. It will be better for you to pay a certified mechanic to do the job than destroying your vehicle engine. In my case, my Jeep is paying full. I paid that Jeep in full, and I decided that I was going to take the risk, and I was like, I know I can do this myself. I'm highly motivated. I am very organized, very clean. So let me go ahead and read the book. And as I said, I see for 3 weeks just reading the book, highlighting parts, making sure that I understood what the book was saying, because there are 3 different configurations to just change that gasket. Trust me when I tell you there are 3 different configurations in that book, and you need to find out which one is the one that you need to use for your engine. Some other thing that I want to clarify. I have been receiving so many questions about how to find this, how to find that. The reason for when I started doing this channel, the reason why I started doing this channel is because I just want to send a message out there, and it's believe in yourself. Believe there are things that you can do if you read, if you educate yourself. Believe that if you're organized, believe that you can do it if you have that spirit inside of you that tell you that you are more than what you think you are. And remember, in the road you will find people who try to push you down. You will find people who tell you that you're a failure. Just don't believe what they said. Believe in yourself, because the most important part in this life, and you have one single life, is if you believe in yourself. If you can just look inside of you, deep inside of you, and look for how talented you are, how powerful you are, there is nothing out there that you cannot do. There is nothing out there that can tell you, or no one out there, out here can tell you, hey, You're a failure. You're not doing this right. You're not doing that right. Just believe in yourself. Don't let other people dictate who you are or dictate what type of person you are. And I'm saying that because this last experience that I went, it broke me. No, they tried to break me not only mentally. They damaged physical. They damaged they were able to do some damage to me physically, in which I basically fractured my left leg in 6 parts. Herniated my lower back. One of my discs now is messed up, and my left shoulder. But again, my motivation was always there, and that is something that I want to pass to each of you who are listening to this video and watch this video about how to change a blown gasket. Be positive, remain focused, keep your habits positive, be organized, just use everything inside of you, each and every drop inside of you, to motivate your own self, because there is no one around you that is going to tell you how much you're worth. For me, each of you guys are incredible. You have been leaving incredible comments, wonderful comments about my channel. Please subscribe to my channel. It's simple. If you watch a video, subscribe to my channel. One of my video has close to 12,000 views, and few has been basically able to subscribe. Just subscribe to my channel so we can share information, and we become friends, because as you can see, as most of the viewers of my channel, if they ask me a question, I always answer this question, or I try to find the question for them. And remember, anything in this life is possible if you think about trying to do it and you do it yourself. There will be setback. There will be moment in which you will get tired. There will be moment in which you get frustrated. Even with this project, there will be moment in which people will tell you, you should do this, why you don't took it to the mechanic, why you don't do that. But the most important part to understand is, if you fail, at least you fail under your own terms and you try. And failing under your own terms, failing for something that you have tried to do, is wonderful, because you will feel the satisfaction that you did something. You put the effort. You basically motivated yourself to do something, and that is extremely important. And that is what it's all about. And when I started these videos, to be honest to you, the reason why I started doing this video, I experimented in something that I am not a professional, and I just asked myself, I'm going to start to doing videos about motivating people, and about telling people to don't let others dictate your life and tell you who you are as a person. Feel secure of saying no when you think that something is fraudulent, that something is against your own belief. Stand strong, and by doing that, don't allow those people who have that negative energy push you down and dictate who you are as a person. We are here for a purpose. We all have a purpose in this life, and it's extremely important that you find within yourself that purpose, and make sure basically that you aim toward that purpose and move forward. That's my message, and that's why I did this channel on how to do it yourself. Because if I am able, or I was able to pull this work together with no experience whatsoever, and I used basically all the energy that was inside of me, and I thought positive. Although I basically encountered some obstacle within the path of fixing something, I was able to finish. And let me tell you something: the feeling of finishing, the feeling of accomplish what you started by yourself, the feeling of reaching that goal, the feeling of just putting that key in the ignition, turning that key, and listen to your engine sounding so smooth, is incredible. And that's the same feeling that we need to basically think and put inside our head when we do something, no matter what. And it's the fact that when you put your entire motivation, your knowledge, your ability to be able to do something for yourself, and you're able to accomplish that goal. When you reach that peak of the mountain victorious, is the best feeling you can imagine. No matter what you do, I don't care what you do, it's the most beautiful feeling that you will experience. Trust me when I said that. Now that I was, and that's the reason why basically I created my channel and name it How to Do It Yourself, because we need to start learning how to do things ourselves, how to treat each other better, and how to be positive about life and leaving a mark, I mean, with others, and make sure that to again, don't let other people dictate who you are. Don't let other people tell you that you are not worth it. Don't let other people tell you that you are a failure, because you are not. You're a positive individual, reading, learning, doing things by yourself as you go, and being victorious. And that's why in reality I did this channel on how to do it yourself, more than do it for mechanic and how to fix your car. And in a way, I mean, during that path that you're gonna follow, of course you're gonna save some money, which is the most important part. But again, I hope this video on how to remove blown gasket in a Jeep Patriot helps some people out there. I am going to share the link for the instruction that I follow in the manual. Also, the manual, the repair manual for the Jeep, is already out in store. I recommend that go and buy it, go and read it. Do not work into your engine or any other parts in your vehicle unless you buy that book and read that book. Have a notebook, have a marker to make sure that you make some notes. And with that said, I hope that you enjoy the video. Please remember to stay positive. Please remember to remain aiming to your goals in life, and don't let anyone tell you that you are a failure, because you are not a failure. You're a person with, I mean, a lot of skills inside of you that you want to share, and that's why you're watching my channel. That's why I'm answering your question. Move forward and keep positive. Jerry again with another video on how to do it yourself. Today what we're doing is replacing a blown gasket in a Jeep Patriot 2014, but the process that I'm going to show you now is how to remove your cylinder head. And the first thing that you have to do, as you can see, I have a 2-pound hammer and the tool that goes inside the bolt that holds the engine. There is a diagram that shows the way in which the bolts have to be removed and put back. Make sure that you follow that diagram. And the first thing that you're gonna do is you're gonna tap the bolt maybe two times. 1, 2. All right. The next step that you're gonna do is put your wrench, and you're gonna go until you hear a tap. Okay, then you stop. Don't do anything. Once you hear that tap, what you're gonna do is basically go back and tap twice. 1, 2. Then again, then you stop. Then again, 1, 2. Then there's your screw loose. Now, once you get it loose, basically, I'm going to show you this one, which is loose already. What you do is get the. So when you lose the bolt, what you do is basically take the bolt out of the chamber, look at the bolt, and the first thing that you're gonna look at the bolt is for this sign here. You see this sign here? This is sign of wear, meaning these bolts need to be replaced. You cannot use these bolts again, and that is basically how you lose the bolts in a cylinder head. I hope that this video helps some people out there who are struggling how to remove these bolts without breaking them. Keep in mind, once click, tap with the hammer twice, pressure again, you heard the click, tap again until you get it loose. All right, take care, guys. So okay, after basically leaving the combustion chamber cleaner, the Mopar combustion chamber cleaner for a bit, I scrub it. Then what I'm gonna do is now go around and remove it. Then after that, what I'm gonna do is spray it with some W40. Again. Wipe it nicely. All right, I got some of that chemical there cleaning cylinder number 2. Gonna get my vacuum, stick it in there. And get any additional residuals out of the water chambers. Feel that? Then I'm gonna remove this one has been sitting there for like maybe 15 minutes and I haven't brushed it yet. So even without brushing it, I'm gonna put this right there to see how it looks. That's without using brush. Incredible. And that is that. So basically without scrubbing, you can see how the Mopar combustion chamber cleaner lift all the carbon. And I haven't scrubbed that one yet, but this is how basically look after adding that in some W40. You have to let it sit basically for 5 to 10 minutes, and it will dissolve the carbon. Alright, so basically after using the Mopar combustion chamber cleaning and using some W40, basically this is how the cylinders look now. I already cleaned the chambers in each of these. I put the piston down. Then as you can see, they look pretty good, I would say. And the only thing that you have to do basically is when you spray the cylinder with the Mopar combustion chamber cleaner, you have to leave that seat there for 5 to 10 minutes, if I'm not mistaken, or it's 15. Let's see. Yeah, it's 5 to 10 minutes. Yeah, you let it sit for 5 to 10 minutes, and what that does is basically lift all the carbon. And this is how it looks now. So I spray the W40 inside the cylinder chambers, inside the cylinder in each of them. Each of them look just like this one's right here. So what I'm gonna do now is cover these, and I'm just go ahead and go and clean the cylinder head and the valve. Here basically what I'm doing is just cleaning the cylinder head, and what I did again, I sprayed the cylinder head with a Mopar combustion chamber cleaner, and I'm gonna let that chemical set there, and I'm just brushing this time, but letting the chemical do the stuff. Something that I did because of the fact that I'm gonna use new spark plug, I left the spark plug on, on, because in that way the chemical will not go through the spark plug hole or chamber. So keep in mind that I already cleaned the inside valve. So what I'm doing now is basically cleaning the bottom part. And this part right here, to be honest with you, I'm not brushing this that hard because I want the chemical just to remove all that carbon deposit that is there. As you can see, look right here, I'm doing this just with a, sorry, okay, let's figure out this. Okay, I'm doing this just with a toothbrush, and I'm not applying that much pressure. You can see the results. So stay tuned, because what I'm gonna do, instead of keep showing each time I scrub, I'm gonna show you the last resort when I finish cleaning all the each of the cylinders valve. So okay, the Mopar combustion chamber cleaner has been basically sitting. So okay, after leaving the Mopar combustion chamber cleaner, this time what I did was I left it sitting there for 30 minutes, and I basically brush the valve. And you might go like, oh my god, he left all that chemical going into those chambers. I'm okay with that, because I'm gonna suck all those fluid out of there with my vacuum. Um, and what I'm gonna do now is let's go ahead and turn the vacuum to see how this chemical works and how I clean the valve. It's gonna be a little bit noisy because the vacuum will be on, but let's take a look. No bad. No bad at all. No bad. Not too much scrubbing and brushing. And it left those balls very clean, and even cleaned the spark plugs. So what I'm gonna do basically is go around now with a brush and clean any other carbon residuals that I see. Flush all these area right here, so I don't have any chemicals inside there with my and basically vacuum all those chemicals out of there. And I'm about to be done with this, and the next step will be to start putting the gasket and basically install this baby back. It look pretty good. It look nice. There you got it. Mopar combustion chamber cleaner. So basically here is cylinder number 4, I'm sorry, valve number 4 is already clean. Number 3, all the carbon has been removed. Number 2, which is the one with cylinder that is giving the code P0302, and I'm about to clean this one right here. Hi guys, again to continue with the video on how to remove your blown gasket on a Jeep Patriot 2014 2.4. This is basically my cylinder head. I finished working on it and I cleaned all the valve chambers, and also I did some job in my camshaft and my exhaust shaft. And something that I want to share with you within this video is the website in which I went to get my new cylinder head gasket. Now that website is partgeek.com, discount auto part and accessory. The reason why I'm sharing that particular website with you guys is because of the fact that I was able to find the entire set of head gasket for only $61.58. Now that set brings your new cylinder gasket, all the gaskets and seal for the cover. Also, you bring the gasket for your exhaust, and then also bring the seal for the thermostat housing. More importantly, it also bring that particular filter right there. I'm gonna basically show you this filter right here, which is recommended that you replace. And why I'm saying that it's recommended that you replace is because the book or the repair manual will tell you that you have to replace the variable valve timing filter screen, which is in cylinder number 1, and you will have to remove that particular filter out of there and replace it with a new one. So your new set comes with that. Also I order my cylinder head bolts from the same website, and I pay only $41. So $41 for the 10 new bolts, $61 for the set of gaskets. Now you will notice that 2 of the bolts come with loose washer. The other one, they are attached to the bolt. And for the loose ones, they basically goes in your first 2 chambers. All right, so this is Jerry with the continue of the video on how to replace a blown gasket on a Jeep Patriot 2014. And for this vehicle, when you are about to replace the gasket, if you are doing this by looking the manual is gonna give you two different torque sequence. And the first one will say this torque sequence is for vehicle with a round hole for the front camshaft dowel located on the intake side of the cylinder head. And it's gonna give you that sequence. The next sequence that it's gonna give you is this one, and that one read, this torque sequence is for the vehicle with a round hole for the front camshaft dowel located in the exhaust side of the cylinder head. Now, when you hear that, when you go to the cylinder head, you might think that you look to have for a hole either in the exhaust or in the intake. Well, in reality, the hole is beneath your intake. But if you come here to the pistons, this is what they're referring to. You see that pin there? So this is for the exhaust. This is the intake, which means the sequence that you need to use for this particular vehicle is the one that is in the exhaust, which is this sequence right here. So you can tie the camshaft, and it goes 1, 2, 3, and 4. So basically, I already marked mine. 1, 2, 3, and 4. And that's for the sequence. Now, the little filter that I showed you in the previous video with the new gasket, this is where that filter goes. So let me go ahead and put the new gasket. So we have replaced the variable both timing filter screen, which is this right here. For placing the gasket, you need to place 2 pea-sized dots of mobile engine sealant RTV, or equivalent to 1 on cylinder block as showed in the diagram. So basically you have to place 1 dot here, 1 dot there. Then you have to place your gasket. The numbers on your new gasket, they go face up, and that's the new gasket in place. Now we need to put the cylinder block. For the cylinder bolt, something that I use to the necking and also at the top with the washer is I add some lubricant there, and in that way, when I'm ready to tie them, because of the fact that these bolts basically require a tiny using a torque plus angle procedure. In that way, when I start tightening them with my torque wrench, it will be easier for me to basically get that torque, required torque that is needed in each of these bolts. Now, with the Jeep Patriot 2014 2.4, there are two types of cylinder head bolts. One of the bolts basically has a long head, and the other one has a short head. So the short head and the long head, in my case, mine are long heads. Now that's very important, because when you're about to tie the bolt, the short bolt and the long bolts, each of them, they have different torque specification. So you need to identify which bolts you have. You see, for the short head, you will go 25 pound, 45, and an angle of 95. In my case, I got the long head, so I have to go 25, 54, and 90 degrees at the end. So you need to be careful with that and make sure that you identify if you have a short head or a long head. Okay, so basically, once you have your range set up to 0, to get to the first mark, it said that you have to go to 25. So what you do is you rotate your mark into, you hit that edge with a 0, let me see. Okay, there you go. Then when you get to the 20, basically it's gonna tell you that you have to, there has to be, the first torque have to be to 25. So you go 1, 2, you got 3, 4, and basically that is your 25 mark. Then when you get there, you tight, and that's your first tight. Okay, so do you remember when I told you that your marker, magic marker, is your best friend? So now what I'm going to do is, because I need to follow a sequence, I'm going to mark the sequence. I'm going to go 1, 2, and I go 3. Then it's telling me to go 4. Then it's telling me to go 5. And it's telling me to go 6. Then it's telling me to go 7. Then it's telling me to go 8. Then it's telling me to go 9. And it's telling me to go 10. So basically, in that way, instead of going back and forward to the diagram, I already know that this goes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10, and that's my sequence to start the first cycle of 25 pounds. So okay, let's do the first 25. And that's it. And that's it. 2, 3. And that's it. 3, 4. And that's it. 4, 5. Okay, 5. Then 6. All right. Then 7. Then 8. Then 9. Then 10. So the next torque is 54. I already set my torque. Let's go. That's it. That's it. And you keep going. Now, after you finish tightening each of your bolts to 25 and 54 pound, the last torque that you have to do is an angle torque, and for that you need this particular tool right here. And basically how it works, you need to set up this to 0. Then you have a pin, and you need to find a place in which you can basically secure that pin, because you're gonna put a torque in here and make sure that you hit the mark of 90 degrees in each of your bolts. So with that said, I have my brake bar set up. The angle is to 0. And now I need to make sure that I hit that 90-degree mark in each of the bolts. And there is your 90 degree.
So once you finish with a 90-degree, now you have to go to in sequence and do 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10.
Alright guys, this is Jerry with the video on how to replace the blown gasket. As you can see, I already put back my cylinder head, but something that I want to share with you is about this. These are the used cylinder head bolts, but something that I want to share with you is this. The first two bolts that you have, one in the exhaust and one in the intake, those bolts, they have a loose washer. So basically the washer is not there and you will see that. Now the rest of the bolts, they have the washer that doesn't come out. Now with these two, when you get your replacements, the new replacements, and to basically replace the used one, they will bring the washer in the package. Now you need to remember that when you're gonna put these bolts inside your block, make sure the velvet of your washer goes up toward your bolt. And basically, to make sure that you did do that right, the flat part goes down, face down, then the round part goes up toward the bolt. And I already basically put the new ones. Those are the new ones. I already replaced them. But I just want to share with you that particular fact about those bolts. Keep remember, the first two, their washers are loose. When you replace them with a new one, the washer, they will come without a washer, but the washer will be included in the package, and you have to basically put the velvet up toward the bolt. The flat part goes down toward the cylinder head. All right, in this particular part on stage of replacing the cylinder head blown gasket, basically what I'm doing now is, as you can see, I remove already the numbers that I used to mark the head cylinder block bolt, because I don't need that sequence there. And what I did was I used some acetone and I used some of this wipe, and I went step by step and remove all those numbers because I don't want that permanent ink to be there. And something else that I did was I removed the numbers out of the tappets too. Then what I'm doing now is using some Permatech Ultra Stick engine ensembling loop to the camshaft and all the cylinders, and I'm sorry, and all the bearings, because the fact is, when you basically add the oil and you're ready to turn on your engine, you need to make sure that all these components here are lubricated and you don't start your engine dry, because you will damage the engine. So that's the stage that I'm doing right now: cleaning, putting lubricant, and removing the sequence number. The only numbers that I haven't removed yet are the ones that goes in the bearings, because I need to tie those to specifications. But once I tie them and torque them to torque specification, then I will remove those numbers too. All right, so continue the process. The process that I will be filming now is basically the tightening process. When you start tightening and timing your time chain, and basically this tightening sequence for your bearing cap and the front bearing cap. And basically what the book said for the Jeep Patriot 2014 is basically install the front intake and accept camshaft. Then bearing cap lasts. Ensure that the dowel are seated and follow Thor sequence, or damage the engine could result. Now this is the sequence here, and as you can see, I already label how my sequence go. These bolts right here, I ordered them. I'm going to replace them now. For the intake and the exhaust, it said they install the intake and the exhaust camshaft bearing caps and slowly tighten both to a 9.5 Newton meter or 85 inch pounds in the sequence show. And as you can see, the sequence that I have in the manual, I already passed here. Now you're gonna need two different torque wrench. This one here is used for foot pound. Now the small one here is used for inch pounds. Now the inch pounds, you will use it with the 10mm bolts. The footed punch, you will use it right here in these bolts because they require 18 pounds of torque. So with that said, says in the book, it said excuse me, that these bolts right here require 9.5 Newton meter or 85 inches pound. That's equivalent to approximately 7.38 torque pressure. And this big one is not going to give you that, but the small one basically for inches will give you the 80. And once you get to the 80 in these numbers here, what you have to do is go to the 5, and that's how you tie these bolts right here. Remember, these bolts right here go to 9.5 Newton meter, equivalent to 85 inches pounds or torque pounds. All right. Now something that I'm doing to the new bolts basically is adding some oil to the threads and also to the head. Then I will place them. The reason for that is because I'm gonna put torque. I don't want the bolt to find some resistance. Within the first torque, basically the only thing that you need to do is to tie the bolt to make sure that they are secure following the order. You are not gonna follow, you're in this particular process, you are not torquing to a specification. What you're doing is basically making sure that you feel that tension there. So 1, 2, 3, 4, then we go 5. So 5, 6. And as you can see, I can even do this with my fingers. What I want to do is just feel, there you go, that lock there. And once I get there, now it's a process when I'm going to apply the 9.5 Newton meters, or basically the 85 inches pound. All right, so I already set up my incher torque wrench to 85. So what I'm gonna do now is This is when I start the sequence of getting to those 85, and you have to go slowly. That's it. You heard that? That's it. 1. That's it. 2. 3. 4. 5. 6. 7. 8. And that's basically the sequence for the exact camshaft. And keep in mind, for the exact camshaft, you will use an inch, pounds, torque range set up to 85. Alright, now what I'm going to do is do the same process for the intake. And just remember to try to loop these areas right here. This tool that I'm using here is what you use to cook your turkey. But for me, I mean, it does the purpose of heating those areas in which I want to put more motor oil. And I'm using full synthetic here. To get those areas lubricated. So now what I'm going to do is the sequence for the intake, and of course I'm going to replace this bolt too because I didn't like how they look when I removed them. Alright, the sequence for the intake, again with 85 inch pound. Slowly. That's it. So 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. 14. 15. 16. And there you go. So you went 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. And the book recommend that you tie this last. Now the torque for this one is 18 foot-pound. and that is when you're gonna use the foot-pound torque. So the small one is for inches, the long one is for foot. Okay, and that's how you torque those bolts. Alright, so let's start the first sequence, which is the 18 foot-pound to the first screw. And you have to go slowly with these bolts. Okay, that's one. That's two. That's three. That's four. And just to make sure that you reach those 18. One, two, three, four. And that will conclude the sequence how to tie your exhaust camshaft, your intake, and the front bearing for a Jeep Patriot 2014. And again, sorry, that's how you do the sequence for the exhaust camshaft 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, applying 85 inches square foot to each of them. And after you add 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, and 16, then you go to the front, and to the front you go depend your engine. In my case, the recommended sequence for this particular engine is 1, 2, 3, 4, and you apply to these bolts right here 18 foot-pounds. So 18 foot-pounds, and in here 85 inches pound. And keep in mind, you will use two different torque wrench, and you can see the difference between one and the other one. This one is for inch-pound for the bolts that go in the exhaust and the intake bearing. This one here will be used for the front bearing cap, and I cannot address that more for you guys. If you plan to do a gasket change in a Jeep Patriot 2014 2.4 liters. As I said, it's a good idea before you install the oil filter to go ahead and put some oil inside the oil filter. Then also I'm gonna do the same thing with the oil pump, because as you can see it comes dry, but I'm gonna add some oil to that oil pump, just a bit, so I don't have any drain dripping into my face when I'm putting it back together. But I'm not gonna just put it dry, I'm just gonna prime it a little bit. Okay, so in this video I already put in place the sprocket. As you can see, I hit all my points. So what I'm gonna do now is I already remove the plastic strap or grab that was holding my tensioner. And what I'm gonna do basically now is go
go ahead and remove the pin that was holding the balance shaft oil pump assembly in place. There is my first time. Second one, which is the crankshaft right there. All right, align with a T. There is a new balance shaft in place. All right, so now what I'm gonna do is I added some oil to this. The new oil filter has oil on it too. So what I'm gonna do, I already tie the 4 screws to the specifications. So now the next steps is basically to use the ultra black Permatex gasket maker, and I already cleaned my pan and all these. I'm not touching it because I removed all the oil and all this is clean and being ready to basically put the gasket. So shortly you will see the car turn on. Just stay tuned for the news for the next video. All right. Okay, and as you can see, I hit the marks again. The new balance shaft is in place. I check all the points. I removed the plastic grab that was holding the tensioner. All right. I removed the pin that came with a new balance shaft. And now what I'm gonna do is basically add the ultra black Permatex to the oil pan, and basically place the oil pan and add the oil. So that is basically the new balance shaft in place, sir. Just stay tuned for the next step. One moment. So okay, we are almost done. I'm just reviewing to make sure that all my timings is okay with the intake camshaft and the exhaust camshaft, and looking to make sure that all my timing points are in place. And basically I just clean all that in there. It looked pretty good, you know. So I already put in place the oil pan. I'm just waiting for the gasket seal to dry it up so I can add the oil. And what I did was basically I was just looking at all my timing points and making sure that all of them are lined up. And that's the timing there with the crankshaft. Okay. And basically I look at you see how I mark the intake shaft and the exhaust shaft. to make sure that all those points align. And basically what I'm gonna do is put everything together now. I clean my seals. And keep in mind that I flushed this engine before I started doing all this. So as I said in the video when I started doing this job, keep in mind that the reason why I didn't show how to put everything back together, still some of the video show that, is because of the fact that when you remove everything, then what you have to do is basically put everything back. The most important part about this particular job is to make sure that you don't screw with the timing. And once let's take a look. Sorry about that. Once the Permadeck dried up, then I will add the oil, then crank the engine. So stay tuned. Shortly I will basically crank the car on and turn on the car, and I will add a video to this one so you can see the whole job completed. Just stay tuned. Well, this is the final resort. Basically, after changing the balance shaft, sounds good. What I'm doing now is basically I'm letting the engine build pressure because of the fact that it was without oil, and I flushed the engine. And also something that I'm gonna look now that it's basically building pressure, I'm gonna look for any sign of oil leak, especially under the car. The water that you see is water because I was adding some water to the radiator, but so far so good. Look nice, look clean. No oil change, no oil leaks. So and go ahead and let the engine run for at least a good 30 minutes so the engine can build pressure. No lights on, everything sounds perfect. And there you have it. And again, what can I say about this particular process? Is there is a process that is very precise. You need to be very precise. You need to take your time to do it. And if you do it the way that it's supposed to be, and if you follow all the instructions, you will end victorious. So one more time, guys, this is Jerry with another video, and in this video basically was about how to replace the balance shaft with the oil pump assembly in a Jeep Patriot 2.4 2014. If someone out there think that I should have done something different, let me know. You cannot comment to the channels. I'm okay with that. And as you can see, I mean, it sounds good. Yeah, it sounds good. It's building pressure. So I'm gonna take it for a test drive and see what's up. So thank you for listening to this video and watching this video. And again, this is Jerry on how to do it yourself. Take care.